All right, I think we should be coming up live now. All right, guys, so welcome back to another episode here with CPCR Live. And my name is Sam. I'm the editor-in-chief. And we also have Tom. Say hi, Tom.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And Tom is the assistant editor-in-chief. And so today we got another episode for you guys. Before I do that, I'm going to just go ahead and let the guys on Twitter and Facebook know that we are live for another episode.
Nice.
So Tom, tell us what you've been working on over the past week. This is actually the first time you've been on the show, right?
This is the first time that I've been on the show. Pretty nervous. I don't know if you guys can tell, but yeah, I've been running around covering CS stuff. Just to the last two podcasts, you guys, I don't know. I thought you guys did a pretty good job. Other than that, I'm covering some news. I mostly handle peripherals. I hop into SSDs, graphics a little bit here and there, but yeah, mostly I just do like peripherals, keyboards, mice, and headset, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So, all right, let's go ahead and hop into the live stream here. We got a couple topics that we wanted to cover. We actually had a ton for this one. I don't know why there was so much stuff to cover this week. But the first thing that I wanted to start with this week is the Samsung Note 7 battery explosion investigation. So I'm not sure if you had a chance to take a look at that, Tom, or if you're even interested in the Note 7 debacle.
It's something I definitely would like to learn more about. I didn't go a whole lot in depth into it, but I'm glad, whatever explanation Samsung gave, it's pretty good. I mean, especially with the rumor that they're not abandoning the Note brand. They have to, make sure they restore faith in the consumer about what's happening.
Yeah. So so basically, I think it was last week or so. I wrote this on January 23rd, but basically, so Samsung held a massive press conference, and they basically went through what really happened with the whole Note 7 debacle, basically. And so what they discovered was that like it was not just one problem. It was the first battery had its own problem, which basically, as you can see here, if you guys are watching the video portion of the live stream, but basically what happened was the battery casing on the first recalled phones, the battery casing was too small. And what basically happened was it would cause the fins, of like the negative electrodes or something, to basically be in the wrong place, and that as a result would cause a weakening of the separators, which then would cause fires, basically.
Oh wow! It's almost
So
like a short battery.
yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so this was like a supplier issue, but basically, if you remember, they recalled the phone the first time, and then they recalled it again a second time.
Yeah.
So the second time they recalled it, there I guess was a different issue, which was basically they had some weird welding issues within the battery. And what basically happened was it caused the negative and the positive charges to basically touch, because there was, it would penetrate the insulating tape and the separator. And of course that was bad, which is why it caused, fires and all that stuff. So that was basically the two reasons that they discovered why, it would cause the phone to explode and catch on fire and stuff. So they had this massive press conference, and then they kind of also unveiled their new safety check or whatever, as you were talking about, Tom, trying to restore restore confidence in the consumer. And so they did this 8 point battery safety check where they, had developed like this battery advisory group and all this stuff. And, now they're testing like, durability. They're doing X-ray tests, charge, discharge, disassembly, accelerated use, all this stuff. So pretty interesting what they're doing now. And, it seems like obviously, they lost a whole lot of money on the Note 7. And
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it's a shame too because the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 was a great phone. A couple of my friends had it. It was sleek, it was well made, and it performed great. It's just that this thing happened.
it would explode.
Yeah, yeah. They also threw out a whole bunch of NAND just because of this phone. Samsung really took a hit on this one.
Well,
And
I
not
think
to mention
with a lot
publicity.
of these phones, I think what happened was they did they were able to like recycle a lot of the parts, but
Yeah.
obviously it's nothing's like 100%, and so yeah, just a lot of wasted stuff that went into it. So hopefully, they were able to save a whole bunch of stuff
That's right.
from the phone. So we'll see. There's been a lot of Galaxy S8 stuff that's been popping up on the web as well. And
Mm,
so, that's something I think we're gonna cover a little bit on this live stream.
mhm.
It's a bunch of rumors, but a
Yeah,
lot of times rumors, they are based on some facts. So,
yeah.
um, yeah.
It'll be
So
fun.
so enough of me talking about the Note 7. I understand you had quite a couple news topics that you wanted to cover.
Yeah. So the CES was a big bulk of where the news are generated, but one thing I really want to touch on is how Microsoft is evolving into what's coming out for the creators update. I'm sure most of you have already checked out the creator update press conference. I think they had back in October of last year, I believe, and they were like, "Oh yeah, here's a bunch of things that we're gonna release for the updating." Like more, I actually don't know when the release date is, but one of the features they're going to release is something called Game Mode,
Cool.
and they recently released like a little teaser video about it. It's only a minute long, but they did just dab on how it's going to work. But basically, they said it's going to prioritize CPU and GPU resources to the game. Beyond that, they didn't say exactly how they're going to achieve this. Um, that's actually pretty interesting, though. It's not just like a gimmick. It's just like, oh yeah, we're going to clear out some of the wasted RAM that you are currently having with. I'm sure if you use any like game optimization apps before, that's basically what it did. This is actually dedicating resources specifically to the game, and you have to activate this manually, of course, at least on launch. There's going to be a handful of titles that Microsoft supports, probably all first party. That's just going to does this automatically when you launch the game, but most of the time you had to launch something called a game bar, and the shortcut for that is Windows key and G. It's actually the same shortcut you use to capture gameplay and stuff like that, but they added a little button in there that lets you select the program that you want to dedicate the resources to, and then the computer will prioritize, or the operating system will prioritize the application. I'm thinking that whether or not this will pertain strictly to games, I wonder if you can like do this for things like Photoshop or Lightroom too. That would be pretty cool to see how this is going to work out.
Yeah, like prioritizing, any app that's in focus at the
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Right.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
But that's cool, and it's rolling out already, right? For the Windows Insiders, and then
that's right.
um, yeah, and then it's
Yeah,
it's supposedly going to roll out in the next update. So
yeah. If you already enrolled in the Insider Preview program, you can actually just download that today. It was released, I think, yesterday. So
okay,
yeah, hop on that.
right on. Awesome. Yeah, it's always nice to see, Microsoft is now taking a much bigger step, towards like PC gaming and stuff, which is
Mm-hmm.
something that, previously it kind of seemed like they left by the wayside a little bit.
Yeah.
But now with the popularity of gaming and all that stuff, it's really making a comeback, and I'm really excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. there's more Microsoft news coming out, but yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So, all right. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with the next topic that I wanted to cover, and that would be the NAND shortage, which I guess Tom,
Ooh,
you wrote about that, but I kind of made some contributions anyway, so
right.
I'm gonna cover this one. But basically, so at CES this year, so Samsung, kind of like really quietly kind of sort of kind of maybe had like a Samsung 850 Pro 4 TB variant. They won an award for it, but it's like we went to CES and we didn't see anything about it, right?
Mm,
And so that was kind of strange. But so as it turns out, Tom's Hardware, they actually contacted Samsung about it, and they were like, "Hey, where is this like 4 TB 850 Pro, which is supposed to come out?" And basically, what they were told was that because of this worldwide NAND shortage,
mm,
that's currently happening, and we've seen this. It's been happening since like the second half of last year,
mm.
and the last quarter it's gotten like a little worse, and then first quarter this year was supposed to be a lot worse, and it's supposed to continue on until like the second quarter of this year. But basically, a lot of these memory companies, what they're doing is they're making the transition from 2D NAND to 3D NAND, and so basically, supply is kind of low right now because of that
Absolutely.
transition, that they're changing their production lines and all that, and as a result, so this I guess is kind of like something that's felt, prior to this, like you didn't really feel the NAND shortage, right? You just kind of you knew that SSDs were there. Maybe they went up in price a little bit, but it was offset by like all these introductions of other NAND technologies like 2D NAND or not 2D NAND, but like TLC NAND or whatever. So this kind of seems like it's one of those first things to show as a result of this NAND shortage. So,
Yeah,
yep. And so,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that was it. Go ahead, Tom.
It's the like all the other companies that I've talked to at CES. Um, a lot of them, I just I walk in, I ask them, what's your progression with new products using newer NAND technologies, and all of them, Mushkin, Patriot, all that, they've all complained to me about how NAND shortages are. They're feeling it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Cool. So
yeah.
you had what else did you have? Did you want to talk about the Windows 10 adoption?
Oh yeah, that works too. So Windows 10 adoption eclipsed Windows 7 for the first time by a small margin, by a few point percentages. Like I think, uh, let's see, by point around 0.4%, 0.35,
Yeah.
which is not a whole lot, but
Yeah.
and this is only pertaining to United States. But like it is slowly gaining ground, and that's honestly what Microsoft's trying to do. Just to get everyone to adopt so they don't have to support an older operating system as
Mm-hmm.
much. Um, Also coming up, actually, I just want to touch on this, but like the newer, I think, no, actually, I'm not talking about that. I'll probably write an article separately on that. But yeah, that's a small thing. Worldwide, though, I mean, you're still going to see Windows 7 absolutely dominating the market at, I think, 40 something percent. Um,
Wow, yeah. It looks like it's at on this article, I'm showing
yeah,
36.26%. So, yeah, still a massive part of the market. I was actually surprised at how much of the market is still using like Windows XP,
yeah.
which is like really
Mm-hmm.
old. So,
Yeah. I sometimes feel like it's a lot of legacy software that's built on Windows XP, and it's just like that's the only operating system we can't work on there. So
yeah.
I have a small feeling I do blame this on like enterprise and stuff. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so all right. I guess that wasn't super heavy article, but
Nah, yeah,
cool.
just small
I guess I'm
updates.
gonna go touch up on this one that kind of interested me, which is I'm gonna pull it up. This article I recently wrote on Tsinghua Unigroup, which is a so Tsinghua Unigroup is like a state-sponsored Chinese technology investment, like group, I guess, technology investment.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best way to call it, just a group. And basically, so if you guys remember, or if you follow like storage a lot, I think last year, they try to buy like Micron, and then a while before that, they try to get SanDisk and Western Digital and all that stuff, and unfortunately, every time they tried to buy something like the U.S. for obvious reasons of national security, they decided, hey, we're gonna block this purchase. But they've got a lot of money. Like they're looking to invest a lot of money. It seems like China really wants to get their foot in the door in terms of like memory technology and just chip building in general, right? They have a
Mm.
lot of fabs in their country, but a lot of this production is not by Chinese companies, right? Like
Yes.
there's like Samsung manufactures there, Micron manufactures there, but it's not Chinese. So um, Tsinghua Unigroup basically decided, hey, we're gonna build our own fab, right? And so they chose a spot. It's going to be in Nanjing, China, and they basically are planning to make a $30 billion investment, which is like pretty big.
Mm.
So, and that specific fab is going to be for DRAM and 3D NAND. Now they've also made previous investments, and they made one in Wuhan, China, which was a $24 billion investment, which it was a part of the XMC acquisition, and that one's supposed to be shipping wafers in 2018, and then they're investing in like another fab to produce logic controllers in Chengdu, China. So they're definitely doing a lot of work, in terms of like investing in stuff. So it'll be interesting to see, where the market shifts, especially like memory and NAND, because now you got another player who is able to produce a ton of who has a lot of capacity, and
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting as those fabs come online to see where pricing and supply and all that is going to fall in a couple of years. So
That's
that's what I have
actually,
on that. Yeah.
yeah, I honestly don't mind as much. I do like competition in the market and seeing another player roll in. Yeah, it'll be fun to see people battling it out.
Yeah.
Most of the competition have been regionalized, with Samsung and all the other companies. But yeah, it'll be fun to see one in China.
All right, cool. So I pulled up another article that I was looking at. This one's also Microsoft. It looks like 365 is bringing in some new features. That's actually pretty cool. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's not. So this is more like a trickle down feature from Microsoft Enterprise into the consumer range.
Mm-hmm.
So this with this update, they introduce activity feed into the consumer range. Um, so as you all know, with Office 2016, they introduced collaboration. So they multiple users can collaborate on the same project, same Word, PowerPoint, I think Excel as well, for multiple users. But one thing that it doesn't introduce is version control. Now they do allow you to mark up changes, and the user can either approve or reject these changes, but that can only go back so far. But with activity feed, it saves the history of all the changes you made to the document, and you can revert back to at any stage if you feel like the changes are either not appropriate or you just want to discard them. So again, in the article I wrote that this feature has existed for a very long time, and it was mostly in programming. If you use Git or GitHub, yeah, it's basically the same concept. But I think more people should get on board with this, especially students writing their paper with like a billion revisions.
Hmm.
So that'll be super helpful. And the next thing is Office Lens integration into Word and Word and something else. Let me check.
It looks like Word and PowerPoint that you wrote
PowerPoint,
over
right,
here.
right.
Yeah.
So one of the cool things with Office Lens is that you can you'll transcribe whatever picture you take of a document or a whiteboard or blackboard, and take the content of that and turn them into an image that I'm pretty sure you can edit to some degree. But so once this feature is baked in, you don't have to take a picture and go to a Word document, press add, find the picture, and then drop it into the document that you're working on. You can just do this straight in there. So this will be a feature coming to Android really, really soon. So again, it
Awesome.
helps with students, helps productivity, saves a lot of time.
Awesome. Yeah, I know my school we use Office 365, so it'll be nice having some of these features come out.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So what did I want to cover next? I think I was going to talk about this interesting. I guess it's kind of a rumor um, that yeah, that recently came out, but basically it's on the Galaxy S8. So we previously were expecting that the Galaxy S8 was going to be pushed up because Samsung did, lose a lot of money by not being able to, or not being able to like sell their Note 7. But it looks like, according to a recent the recent whole like press conference they had, a couple of the news sites, they basically talked to Samsung about confirmation on the Galaxy S8, and it seems like it's not going to launch until a while after Mobile World Congress, which is supposed to be at the end of February. So likely a lot of rumors I've been hearing is going to be in April, is when the launch is supposed to be. Again, that's not confirmed or anything. The only thing that they confirmed was no, it's not coming for Mobile World Congress at the end of February. So that's that. And then I guess I'm going to segue into a second article that I was going to talk about, which is another interesting one, basically talking about the LG G6. So according to this recent article, it was published in Forbes, but basically they said that the LG G6 is not going to feature the Qualcomm Snapdragon 835, which is their latest flagship SoC that was launched during CES. And basically, what they're citing is that Samsung took basically took all the orders of the or at least the first batch of the Snapdragon 835. So they have every single one of those, and so no other phone company is able to acquire that before its launch, which is expected to be in April. So I thought that was interesting. So yeah, for those of you guys who were waiting for the LG's latest flagship, you might be disappointed, unfortunately, as you won't be able to get the Snapdragon 835, but you will get, I think they said that it would be featuring a Snapdragon 821 instead, which isn't bad, but Snapdragon 835.
Yeah, no features,
Yeah.
runs way faster.
Yeah, it's faster, right? And
Yeah, we don't know the performance of the chip, but I mean, from the block diagrams they released, it seems like it's going to be pretty cool. Updated
yeah.
graphics core as well, so yeah, more efficiency. Yeah, we'll see. And Samsung has to really double down on this. I mean, I don't mind them releasing a phone later than sooner. I'm sure a lot of readers share the same sentiment. Release something late but good rather than something that's early and broken. So
Yeah.
especially reputation shot. Yeah.
Right on. So I'm looking here. It looks like you have another article that you were going to cover, and that was on Apple and Qualcomm.
Oh man, that's a big one. It's making waves.
Yeah,
Apple's gonna sue. Yeah, Apple sued the hell out of Qualcomm for anti-competitive practices.
yeah.
Uh, so they filed one in San Diego, I believe, but somewhere in the
Yeah,
States a few weeks ago. Yeah.
yeah, I remember they filed one in the US, and then they decided like we're gonna do this in China too, so it's like, you know.
Yeah, it's fun times. Basically, their contract with Qualcomm expired, and now they're coming out and saying Qualcomm is charging them extra royalties from Apple because they're the only supplier that's capable of meeting Apple's demands in terms of manufacturing
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And yeah, and they're apparently charging 5 times as much as all the other contracts combined. That's not happy. And then Qualcomm, in response to this, came out and said, "This is just that's a blatant lie. You know,
Hmm.
Apple's just making a bad image, misrepresenting Qualcomm in a bad way, and that they're just trying to get them to lower the prices." And with in regards to the one they filed in China, they said, well, we're charging the same price to all the other suppliers as well, not just to Apple. So, I mean, I don't want to step anyone's toes here. I'm not going to say, oh, this has to be the case, but I do feel like, in terms of the modem space, yeah, Qualcomm kinda is dominating. Um, with Apple, the case is a little bit different. Now Apple's going to try to, I feel like, move away from Qualcomm a little bit with the iPhone 7. Part of their iPhone 7 has Intel's modem rather than
Yeah, but
Qualcomm's.
but those were like not very good,
Yeah,
or
yeah. I
at
mean,
least from what I've heard. I'm not much of an iPhone guy, but at least from what
yeah,
I've heard, it's
Intel hasn't. Yeah, historically, Intel hasn't. Isn't very on top of their modem game. And Qualcomm has like years and years and years of experience. So it's a tough matchup, but we'll have to see how this actually plays out and whether or not they'll go through with the how the judgment for the lawsuit comes.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so all right, with that, I'm gonna jump into another article that I was gonna talk about, and that's the a new monitor from AOC. Donnie was actually supposed to be on the show to kind of talk about it, but he wasn't able to make it today. So I'm going to talk about it. So AOC basically announced a new 35-inch ultra-wide QHD G-Sync gaming monitor, and kind of looks like that. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So 35 inches features a 3440 by 1440 resolution. It's one of those ultra wide displays. Features G-Sync, so it's going to be really expensive, but hopefully it's going to be really good. Maximum refresh rate 100 hertz, which is pretty typical for a really high performance, like 30 plus inch screen. 4 millisecond response time, and it's based on the VA panel technology. So, other than that, you get 100% sRGB color coverage, 2500 to 1 contrast ratio, 178 degree viewing angles. It also has like this kind of cool, I guess, weird looking stand. It's like this tri stand that they have. So, height, tilt, swivel, all that good stuff. And yeah, so it's expected to come on sale in March for an expected $984. So
Cool.
that's what I have on that.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of pretty expensive, but
Yeah.
35 inches, man. That's a pretty big G-Sync display. I don't know if there's one that's similar to that, but
Mm.
either way.
Nice.
So that's that one. Um, go ahead. Is
Cool.
there another article that you were gonna talk about, or
Um,
sort of? I
so
have one. I have one that I was gonna talk about. So
right.
I have so the Razer announced a new keyboard, and yeah, basically they announced the Black Widow Chroma V2. it's a newer version of their older one. It's actually something I'm currently working on reviewing. So I actually have it right here on my desk. So I'm actually using it. And yeah, basically they've made quite a few improvements to it. So far, I'm kind of liking it. It's they got rid of the really weirdo font that they had on the previous generation
Nice.
Razer Black Widows, which is nice because
Right.
had like the space font before, and then yeah, so that was nice. They added a I guess a wrist rest, so it's a pretty plush wrist rest. It's magnetic, just like some of the other designs that they have for that, and it'll also come with a new switch option. Um, yeah, which is going to be the Razer Yellows. So Razer Yellows is basically going to be like a linear switch type, so linear and silent. Um, so yeah, that's the Razer Black Widow Chroma. So yeah, hopefully I'll have a review on that in the next couple days,
Mhm.
and of what I think. They didn't raise the price, which is nice. So it's still going to be $169.99.
Mhm.
Kind of expensive, but kind of seems like the prices are slightly lower when you actually go on Amazon.
Yeah. It's nice to see Razer finally adding a linear switch into their Black Widow. Finally, honestly, they had the orange and the blue, or orange and the greens. Wow. And both are pretty tactile. Yeah, I guess they're finally catching on. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Mhm.
All right, so I think that's all I had to cover for this show today.
Mhm.
So that's all I have. Just wanted to, before I end it, if you guys are interested in asking some questions or something like that, I'm thinking that we might, do some Q&A maybe at the end of every show, with stuff about uh, the forums, or maybe somewhere we can have answer some questions on that. But
Yeah,
aside from that, that's all we got for this week, and yeah, that's all I got. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in the next week.
cool. Yeah, see ya.